Welcome to Mogobe Nuggets of Wisdom podcast. My name is Mompoloki Lerumo Mogobe. Our objective is to enthuse, inspire, energize, and empower entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs of all stripes here in BW and beyond. We do so by inviting these entrepreneurs into our makeshift studio. Sometimes we call them to the restaurant, sometimes we go to our studio, and we ask them to share their experiential knowledge, their experiences and their expertise. And we ask them as many questions as we can, aimed at empowering you also as a viewer. Hello, dear viewer and listener. My name is Mompoloki Lerumo Mogobe. As always, I welcome you to yet another episode of Mogobe Nuggets of Wisdom podcast. Sometimes we tend to take these episodes for granted because we've done well over 300, but each and every time we have a special guest who brings life-changing business information, something unique, something powerful, something empowering, as our slogan goes. But before we get in deeper, please do me a little favor, namely to strike or to hit that subscribe button. We need your support. The only way we can grow with is your support. We're going to talk about all things entrepreneurship, and my guest is about to introduce herself. And my guest is...
Hi, good morning, everyone. Bakang. I'm known as Queen, but full name's Bakang, Queen Kgotlaesele. I'm a very young woman. I'm a very young woman of 29 years old. I know I look otherwise, but I'm from Tlokweng, a small village called Tlokweng, very popularly known. And I'm an entrepreneur. I run my own business called Oakmont Enterprises, which I do full time.
Okay.
We mainly focus on the implementation of software, mainly Sage software, because we are a business partner of Sage. So we provide only Sage software for now.
Okay. Share a little bit on the, academic or, if you like, vocational background.
I'm a graduate of Botswana Accountancy College. I did my degree there. It was a BSc degree in applied business computing. So basically what I'm doing now is what I obtained from a tertiary level. And we did more of programming stuff, more of business stuff. It was a touch and go on the most common things of the industries. So like it's called business computing. We did everything that is business related, and that is done through technology.
Okay. Does it mean one has to be a coder and be into, be a software programming
No.
to be into this field?
No.
Educate me. What is the skill set required?
It's so funny because although I did programming, I hardly ever use it. Whatever I'm doing now, I'm so far off programming that I've even forgotten it. Although it's there in my blood, but I've forgotten it. But to be in the space that I'm in, you need to be, for one, if I specify on the exact skill set that I have, you need to be certified as a consultant. And to be certified, you need to be certified exactly by Sage. Although we have some certifications that you obtain, that you can do your small courses on the side, but with the specific one, you need to obtain it from Sage straight.
Okay.
So that they can quantify you and say, this one, because we did it, we know exactly how she will provide what we provide.
Can you tell me a little bit about Sage? What sort of company is it, and what do they specialize in?
In short, I'll say Sage is just exactly like SAP. Most people know SAP because SAP has a number of different systems, a number of softwares. It's exactly like SAP. We have your accounting softwares, your payroll softwares, your HR, your manufacturing. So it's just that whole big manufacturer of different softwares for every industry.
Okay. And how did you land the gig in terms of being their agent?
Yeah. I had to want it. Let me say I had to want it. I was working before as a consultant. Straight out of school, I got a job in a private company. They are the ones that actually got me trained into this. They took me to South Africa. I learned the skills. I certified and I became their consultant. And then over the years, that's when I sort of felt there's some sort of transition going on inside me, and being an employee is not really as fulfilling as I thought it would be. So I left my job, like everyone else, like every other entrepreneur who would say, I quit my job, and then I came into the entrepreneurship world. I registered the company in 2020, and to register it, there are certain requirements that you need to provide to Sage as a company. So before then, I had to run around and make sure I am of that standard. I had to obtain whatever they wanted, whatever certification they wanted, whatever. Just say whatever is needed, you need to provide it. So I contacted them in South Africa, and then I told them of my intentions, and we went back and forth with the talks, back and forth with the preparations, and then by 2021 I was certified and authorized partner of Sage.
Okay. You told me that your journey started in 2018. Can you just tell us the genesis of your entrepreneurial journey?
The journey, basically, it started then because I was an employee, like I said. But as an employee, there comes a time where you feel this is not me. This is not me. And sometimes when I talk to people, I like to tell them that this entrepreneurship thing is a calling. I like to describe it as a calling, just like your normal callings to be a prophet, a calling to be a healer, whatever. Entrepreneurship, I believe, is also a calling. So I would like to believe at that time, that's when my calling started disrupting my world and trying to show me, Queen, we need you this side. So 2018 until 2019, though, I wasn't really into the business side of it. It was more of the years of transition. Those were the years where I got to discover myself, got to discover why working is not for me, got to discover what else is out there in the world, until finally I fell into building a business and registering a business, which was 2 years later. Like everyone will say, entrepreneurship is a journey. So that journey, it started with transition, and then we got to building the company a couple of years later.
Okay. What would you say were the initial challenges in setting up the company and getting it up and running?
When you're starting, you never really have the knowledge. You never really know where to start. I never knew that in order to do this, I need to be certified a business partner. I need to have a registered company. So the lack of knowledge is always a stumbling block for anyone in the beginning. So you need to be curious. I've talked about being curious. And if you are not curious, you will never ask. And if you don't ask, you will never do. And unfortunately, in the world of entrepreneurship, you need to be a doer. You cannot sit and say it will happen. You have to do. So I was curious. So you needed to be curious. You needed to go around and ask and get the information that might benefit you in whatever I wanted to do.
Now, is there a particular individual or who was influential in getting you to make that decision, or is there sort of a mentor that guided you?
At the time, no. At the time, I've always been a person that hangs around with adults. So Motshelo, I'm always in Motshelo with adults. So I get to interact with people who are already in that kind of level, and I got interested in that way. So I influenced myself in a way. I saw whatever is okay. Mr. Mogobe is living like this. Okay, I want to know how he got there. I ask Mr. Mogobe, he explains to me, and I'm like, okay. Then I go to YouTube, I go and search how to do this, how to do that. So mostly in the beginning, I didn't have a lot of mentorship, but for now, I have quite a lot of people that I can immediately text and say, okay, I need this, I don't understand this, kindly help me here with this, and it's always a 100% guarantee with them.
Yeah. Motshelo is a very important quote-unquote rite of passage sometimes in Botswana to get into business, to get into a cooperative of sorts. Can you explain to those who don't know about Motshelo what it is and how it functions, and then share your particular experiences around Motshelo.
The most common one that we know is the one that deals with money, of course, where we can come together as a group of people and then we try to help each other reach targets. We would say maybe we can put our targets towards December or on a monthly basis. That okay, right now we are going to accumulate this sort of funds and then give it to Mr. Mogobe so that he can push whatever he needs to push on this month. And then next month we move on to the next person in the group, and next month and so on and so on. Or we can all just monthly contribute, and then December we all share whatever we have accumulated, however we might have decided at the beginning that we were going to share. But there's also recently I've learned of the business Motshelo, the networking kind of Motshelo, where we come together and we provide support as opposed to what we are used to, the money. So we provide support. If it's Queen and you're having a function at your company, everyone in this society, in this group, has to show up and put in whatever they need to put in according to their skills and knowledge.
Okay. Based on your own experience, would you encourage other entrepreneurs out there or other young, aspiring, business people to get into Motshelo?
I think you should get into it when you know what you want to do. It doesn't make sense to get it and say, okay, every month I'll be taking out this and putting it there. You need to know exactly what you want to do and how to get there. Because with entrepreneurship, to be honest, you need a lot of patience. And you won't get most of the things that you need for your business, for your company, without the patience.
Okay.
So it's a more of building a step by step towards that big thing that you want to achieve. So I would encourage them, although I would like them to understand why they want to go that route, because there are several other routes to get to where you want to go. So if it's a Motshelo way and you need the capital for the company, you can go that way and it will help you. If it's a networking sort of, you can go that way. So I would definitely encourage, as long as you're not doing it for the trend, you're doing it because you understand where you want to go and you believe that way will get you there.
Okay. Did it specifically help you? And if so, are you able to share how Motshelo helped you?
It did.
Tell us.
It did. The funds that I used to finance the business partnership, it was from the Motshelo.
Share a little bit more on that.
It did. I was with a group of ladies back in Kgotlaesele. They're very popular ladies. They run businesses that side. So in that year, I won't lie, it was one of the most hectic years of my life.
2018?
2018, yes. 2018, we were contributing as much as 2.3 per month. And towards we put it in an account, and then we only get it in December. Yes, it was December. I remember my month was December. Every month is someone different. So I used those funds that I contributed to pay for that license. It was a very big it was a big move, because at that time I wasn't working, if you remember. So to get that 2.3 to go and contribute for that monthly, I have to do other small things. I have to get a piece job there. I have to do just to get to that net, which is also something that I like to tell people about entrepreneurship. It's never really about right now. It's about how you do it. Because if another example I hear people talk about mostly is, if you're a company and then you want to get a sponsorship, you want to get an investor, and you get into the CEDA office and you ask for the list of requirements, and then they'll give you the requirements, which is usually a very long list, and then you read it and you're like, hey, this is impossible. They want the references, they want the what, and then if
the piece of land to be bonded and
to
stuff
be bonded
like that.
to that. And if the reason why also I like to attach entrepreneurship to a calling is that for a normal person, if you get into an office of that magnitude and they give you such and such and say, we want you to produce this, as a normal person, you're gonna say, this is impossible. You are sitting at home and you're like, mara reference is at 3. Nago would wanna get the references at 3. But as if you are a called person, you would understand what that means, and you'd understand, okay, although this is what they're saying they want, it doesn't. There's more behind just those three things. It means that I have to now go and look for clients. I have to now go and do the work. I have to produce proper and good work so that that client can be able to speak about me as a company, and that's how you would obtain one of three.
In other words, references. You have to be resilient. You have to be really determined.
You have to. You have to, because in this world, really, resilience is top of the list. To be described as a resilient person, you have to have been determined. You have to have overcame most of the things that go with it.
Now, before I leave the subject of Motshelo, we've heard of horror stories of, for instance, the treasurer disappearing around December, and money disappearing. Have you experienced any of the dark side, and are you able to advise people as to the negatives as well?
No, I've never experienced that. I've never, like I was saying, with us it was more of the mature group, so everything was done accordingly. We had a bank account where all the money was going to, and everyone had access to the growth of the bank statement.
So you were all signatories?
No, not really, but we on a monthly basis we get to see
the statement
where we are. And
then you had someone who two or three people who sign, who are trustworthy.
But if I were to encourage, I won't understand how it's still possible, because nowadays we have so many resources that are geared towards preventing such things in Motshelos.
Can you explain yourself?
We have small financial aids that can actually say, okay, you guys can utilize our resources to store your money. We have, I don't know if I can say this mega accounts.
Yes, you can.
You can mega accounts. That's mega accounts that I've recently learned of. Everyone who's in a group and part of a Motshelo or that Motshelo group, if you've registered with this mega, every time there's a transaction in that Motshelo account, each and every person gets a notification. So it can be 20 of you, it can be 26 of you, everyone gets the same notification, whether it's money being deposited or money being withdrawn. So everyone is always up to date with what's happening. So in a way, I think for now, let's use the resources. If I were to encourage, let's use the resources.
So what you're telling me is that whereas it may have happened in the past, today that it's so easy to prevent.
It's very easy
to somebody walking away with the cash.
It is. I would like to think maybe if we would have it now, it will be more of intentional,
International?
Intentional. If you're now, right now, you have situations where a treasurer doesn't show up, it will be intentional, because we have so many.
So you don't need a treasurer, in other words. Yeah, because you'll have several co-signatories. You can't rely on one person.
You need your phone.
To authorize payments. All right. I still want to go back to this journey of entrepreneurship. What does that awareness, what was that, if you like, that epiphany, that big change, was it a realization that for instance, you could not make ends meet, or you're having specific challenges? I really want to be guided by you as to that shift into an entrepreneurial mindset.
To get into the company, to register the company, it was more of frustration. I've been unemployed for a long time, and I didn't understand what I was going through at the time also.
How long were you unemployed?
Since 2018 until 2019.
And for about a year.
And then COVID happened, and then we were back to square one again. So it was more frustration, because then I'd stayed for that long, and then eventually I decided, okay, let me get back into the corporate world, let me apply again, but you're not getting the results that you are hoping for. So that frustration caused me to say, okay, but here I am with the certificates. I'm literally begging a company to utilize me when I can utilize myself. They need me, so why can't I need myself? So that's when I said, oh, okay, no, but I have what these people are looking for. I have it, so let me use it. Then I would like to say that was the epiphany. I'm like, okay.
An epiphany.
Finally realizing my worth. That was it. In the year of 2020.
Are you implying or suggesting that unemployment is a choice?
No. I would never say it's a choice. No one would like to choose something like that.
By that I mean, if somebody puts enough effort, they can employ themselves.
Yes.
So it is a choice.
It is a choice. In that manner, it is a choice. You can employ yourself just like I did for myself.
Isn't that also a bitter pill to swallow for people? That it is in a sense choice. You have that degree and you are busy sending applications, but with a certain mindset, you can turn things around and employ yourself.
It shouldn't be bitter. It shouldn't be bitter because I would like to believe it's your purpose. The fact that those other doors are closing, I would like to believe they are trying to push you and redirect you to where you are supposed to be. And if you get to a point where you actually decide, oh, okay, now it's time for me to start my own, it means you have felt the universe. You have listened and you have humbled yourself and you've accepted that, you know what, I need to be in business. So it shouldn't be bitter. In fact, over time you would learn to appreciate those hardships before you started. Because when you get to 10 years, 16 years, and you're actually enjoying the fruits, you're like, okay, but I took even more time. Why didn't I start earlier than that?
Than this, yeah, that's true. Let's talk about the software business. Explain it to a lay person. What is this business exactly? What is this software? Imagine you're talking to a 6-year-old. How would you define the software business?
Specifically that I do.
Yes.
I deal with mostly the accounting departments of companies. As a company, obviously, every small company, you have to have some sort of record. You produce purchasing orders, you produce invoices, but mostly we do it manually. You can have a physical receipt book. You can have a physical purchase order book, but with the software that we provide, we are basically just turning those physical books, those physical POs into a system. You can now just log into a system and then automatically upload what you need to do, and the system recalculates everything, balances for you, and gives you a compliant printout of exactly what is needed from a company. So it's although for now we're focusing on the accounting departments of companies, we have other HR softwares. You have your payroll softwares that you can use to pay your employees so that they can obtain their pay slips. They can apply for leave, and so on and so forth.
Okay. And why Sage? What is so special about Sage? Is there anything that sets it apart from other systems?
I've always known Sage. I've always known Sage, if I'm to be honest. Although with the other softwares, it was just brief, but I was more in depth into Sage. And Sage is the system are more of they are very user friendly. In times like this, you have people that are working but are not really computer literate. But with the softwares that we provide, we make it as literate as possible for even a person who has never sat in front of a desktop before. It's more of a next or a click or okay, basically like that. So I think I would like to believe with Sage, they provide exactly what a normal being does on a day-to-day basis with their systems.
Is there a particular field or business that they are geared towards, or it's just general business? Whether it's real estate, whether it's retail, whether it's banking or micro lending, the system works. There is.
We customize it according to what you need. So it depends on what industry you are in, and then the implementation can be customized according to your needs. Okay. We can sit down with Mr. Mogobe and say, I have this kind of company, a real estate company. I have different branches. One is in Letlakane, one is in Jwaning, one is in what. So we customize exactly what you need. But if you say, I don't want to be traveling to all my sites, then we pull up all the data on your other sites, and then we develop that system for you that you are able to just log in and see what's happening in Francistown, what's happening in there.
That's very interesting to me, because we do have branches or mini branches around, specifically we're in Gaborone and Mau. How would you assist us?
If it's that way, let me say for you, Mr. Mogobe, you have different companies as well, right? And then within those companies, you have those different departments. we can sit with you and then develop a system for you that allows you to manage the different companies and then manage whatever is within those companies just in one sitting, in one system. So if you want to, you would be the manager, so you'd be on a more executive level of the system, which means you want to see the dashboards, you want to see how Francis Town is performing through charts and Excel sheets and financial, what do you call them? Financial reports. So we would sit down with you, meet up with your teams. They would tell us then, okay, as we are like this, we need to be producing financial reports every month. And in those financial reports, we need to see the following. Okay. So we take those, we develop it like that, we customize it for you. And then we go to your operations department. Those are the ones that do your procurement and your
in our case, rental collections.
Yes. We go to them, they tell us.
I'll give you an example. We would have operations, we'd have collections, we'd have accounting, we'd have HR, and then we'd have business development, and then we'd have, in our case, security division, and we'd also have maintenance division. All these are semi-autonomous divisions, but they all report to one area.
And the nice thing with our Sage product is that everything is integrated. Those departments, we build a system to integrate and communicate with each other. So if you are in the operations department and you are producing POs and you are buying and you get your invoices
POs,
back,
you mean purchase orders?
It will automatically, as there's something we call posting. I don't know if it's also common in the normal accounting world. In the system, though, we call it posting. You post, once you post and you're in the operations department, the system automatically integrates with the general ledger. So it's going to update whatever you're doing that you're setting there. It will put it nicely in your general ledger so that when Mr. Mogobe is going through his general ledger, he can see, okay, in the procurement department, we utilize this much. In the HR, we've had this much of people applying for leave. We've had this much salaries being paid. Everything that is done in each department comes back to that one system.
Yeah, I guess what I'm asking you is what are the pain points and what are the specific solutions you are offering for those pain points?
It's never really specific. It's customized.
Yeah, but
we
can generalize.
It's up to you what you want, and we give you what you want. But the main is just that it's an accounting system, and a normal accounting employee understands what they do on a day-to-day basis in their accounting world. So I would like to think there's never really the specific part of that system that we do. It's mainly just up to what you want, because we are trying to satisfy you as a customer. We're trying to make your life
we
easier.
also want to educate the customer, don't you, as to what an ideal business would look like, so you would know the ideal things to look out for and to solve for the customer. Because am I right in saying sometimes you have to educate the customer?
We have to.
Don't you do that? At least in the first session when you take them through how the system works.
We do that. After we implement, we do train the users of the systems. That is a guarantee. You can never give someone a system and not show them how it's done.
All right. I guess another way of putting it is, can you just take us through the process from the initial consultation, what happens, all the way to the time when you say, now that we've satisfied the customer's needs?
Well, we can meet up, and then I can spend a day or two in your company trying to familiarize myself in how you run your things here, and then we can sit down with whatever team that you have. They are then we do a session called a requirements gathering. We sit there with the proper people that actually make the decision of what they want. So we'd have each person from each department, if we were to sit here together, and then they tell us what they want from their side in terms of requirements. It's data capturing, just now we do this, now we do that. After we gather those requirements from you, we then go and implement the system. It won't be live at that time, but we sit and then we implement. we upload all the data that we collected from your company, because we're gonna ask you to provide us with the list of everything, documentation, whatever you want to be in the system. So we upload that data into the system, and then we sit and train your staff, show them on how they would use it on a day-to-day, and then after everything is approved, and you see, okay, indeed, the employees are understanding what they're supposed to do on a daily basis. That's when we can start handing it over to you to utilize by yourself the way you want.
Is it expensive?
It's affordable.
It's affordable.
It's affordable. It's the value. It's valuable.
Okay.
So
the price is based on what? The number of laptops or the number of users?
Number of data, the size of the data, number of employees, number of companies, because you can have all different companies in the same system.
Okay, let's now go to the shameless plug, if you know what I mean. Time to talk about success stories, clients that you helped. You can tell us that I found client X, even if you don't mention names, client X in this position, and this is what we did, and when we left or when we checked last time, client X was in this position.
Which one would I like to talk about? I like to talk about one that that was a very interesting way of obtaining that client because they were looking for, you know how certain companies will be going around calling companies to ask for quotations and ask them to send you back.
RFQ, request for quotation.
Yes. So at that moment, they had no knowledge of us at all. So I got to hear through a friend that, I had a company so-and-so is looking for a system, specifically an accounting system that you're doing. So I searched, we searched, we looked into LinkedIn, we Facebook, we see who's the director, who's the what, and then I contacted the decision maker, and I came to them and I explained to them that I'm so-and-so, I do this and this. I was actually very honest at the time, because I told them that, my company is relatively new, so I know what you're looking for is a lot of experience, but I can guarantee you that I can provide the exact same quality that those big companies can provide you. And luckily, they managed to grant me the time from that small interaction that I had sent, and they granted me the time. We met, I went over to see them, and then of all those big companies that had sent their RFQs, I managed to get that project.
Wow, this is
That's
great.
how I managed to. We implemented the system for them. And
what was their situation before, and what was the situation after?
They were using before they were doing the manual way of doing things, but now we're still very much in communication. They are still using the system. They are actually one of our most valuable clients because of that relationship and that trust that we built from the beginning. Because if you are to approach someone like that, you actually have to provide something that is more than they had expected. So I provided exactly what.
So you under-promised and over-delivered, or you over-promised and over-delivered?
I promised and over-delivered.
Okay, that's good.
I think that's why even to this day, they're still one of my most valuable. They trust me for everything, because they can call and say, okay, now we want something else. What can we use? So
that's good. That's a very good story. I appreciate it. Now, what advice would you say to a young person who wants to embark on entrepreneurship?
I'd like a normal young person like me to get to know themselves, know who they are, what they want out of life. We are so easy in sitting here and admiring Mr. Mogobe and saying,
well, what does it take for one to know themselves?
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. It's not specific. You need to how can I actually put it in proper understanding, because it's not something that's easily explainable. But if you grow up a certain way, you sit and you talk to yourself, you ask yourself, what are your wants, what you look up to, what you would want to achieve out of life, You get to sit in silence and see, okay. Self-introspection, my bad. You need to self-introspect. And self-introspection doesn't really happen over a short period of time, unfortunately. You have to ask yourself, you have to question your mentality, your physical being, your social being, and see if exactly what I am putting into those things, is it exactly what I want out of life? And if you get to understand after all those things, then you will know, okay, as Queen, I am this kind of person. And if someone is to come to me and say, okay, no, Queen, divert this way, it won't be easy because I know what I want. So
once you've done that, what's the next step?
Once you've done that, then you set and you implement. You implement your life. You start from the very beginning. If you want to be starting a business, like I would say, you would start by finding out how to register that business, what you need for that business. And a lot of times as a young person, we want the results before we can put in the work. So, and a lot of times they put fear in front of anything. So if I wanted to register a company and I want that information, I'm more afraid to actually get into the SIPA office and go and ask. But as a young person, I would like to encourage them to please put fear aside. Put fear aside and gather the knowledge, ask. But as long as you have the right approach to everything, you will always get what you want.
That's good. And the right approach means what? Having a positive mental attitude? Have
a positive one. Have a determined mental health. You need to be determined for everything, because like we say in entrepreneurship, it's a journey. So you are going to experience a lot of tests, and you need to pass those tests in order to get to where you want to get to. If you don't pass those tests, you will never be able to achieve what you want to achieve. So you need to be determined, you need to persevere, and you need to be sure of what you are embarking on. Because if it was for everyone would be doing it.
Any significant setback or challenge maybe around COVID that you experienced?
We actually started a bit after, when COVID was starting to slow down. It wasn't before then. So
around 2021,
towards the end of 2020. So I registered the company then, but the license I got it in 2021. So COVID didn't really affect that much. But as other challenges, I would really like to think I haven't really seen them as negative impacts towards the business. I've seen them as more of influence and a show of which direction we should take towards that. So I haven't really experienced much in terms of.
So in other words, it was a way of course correcting yourself.
There's always a way.
Yeah, just going back on the right lane.
And there's always someone who knows.
Yeah.
If I'm to get stuck right now and I ask Mr. Mogobe for advice in the real estate world, he will help me and show me something that I didn't see when I was on my own.
And who in that regard are your mentors, and how have they helped you? Even if you don't mention them by name, if they don't, unless you want to.
I would like to mention. I would mention her. There's a lady called Roshin. Roshin. She's based in Dubai.
Yes.
She's the president of the Female Founders Initiative. I've experienced something very, very different about the kind of support I get from her. It's very unique. It's very mind-blowing. It's not something that I never thought I'd come across in life, and through her encouragement in the way she delivers it, it has encouraged me to continue pushing, to never give up, to know that there's a community. There's a community in getting where we want to go as entrepreneurs, because as an entrepreneur you can't go alone.
So how did you hook up with her, and how did she assist you?
LinkedIn.
And tell us about
LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a very good networking platform. I know most people don't understand it in Botswana and they don't utilize it much. So as I am Queen, I would wake up early in the morning, I just sent out some friend requests, and then once in a while I just sit and just inbox people and tell them who I am, tell them what aspiring to be, tell them what I'm aspiring for my company. So we met through LinkedIn, and then she invited me for an event. I came by for an event, and
in Dubai.
No, it was in South Africa.
Mm-hmm.
The time she was coming, it was being hosted in South Africa, and they were like, "Would like
what
for
kind
you to
of
come."
event?
It was a networking, a workshop, a networking workshop for entrepreneurs, and it was also their first year anniversary. So they wanted to celebrate it with mostly African people and African companies. So she invited me. I went by, and my life has never been the same.
Wow, you said it was mind-blowing. In what sense was it mind-blowing?
It's the way the support is delivered through.
Yeah, tell us about that. I'm a very curious person.
We get support when you ask for it. If you were to need something right now, you would contact me and say, Queen, I would like help with so and so. But the way they provide support, they actually give it to you when you didn't even know that you need it. They just know how to see your value before you even see it, and give you what you need towards gearing in your journey. Okay. So although we live in different countries, it's just a community of ladies in different countries, Nigeria, Ghana, South Africa, and everyone. And in that group, everyone has put in their hand in anything that I needed. And I've managed to achieve most of my things through that support.
Can you give a specific example for clarity?
Yeah, unfortunately, others are still in the pipeline. They are not even public yet, but they advertise my business out there in the world. That's something that I can say for now. My company is well known outside in the Middle East. It's well known in Africa, and it's all because of my mentor.
Yeah.
My mentor.
So they would inform others about you.
Others.
And do you get clients from that?
Yes. We do that.
Okay.
And if they don't inform, they tell me where to go, who to talk to in which country, and they provide whatever necessary contacts and open that door for me.
Is this resource available to anybody who might be listening to this show?
It is.
Then can you share more information on it?
You just simply need to become a member of the initiative.
It's called?
It's called the Female Founders Initiative for Middle East and Africa. So it's FFMEA.
And you need to pay something to be a member?
Yes.
Okay.
We can only get somewhere if we are able to finance it with each other.
Okay. Now, let's talk about the long-term plan for the company. In other words, if I was to ask you that crystal ball question of, if you look into the future for the company, what do you see 15 to 20 years down the line? And also, if you look into the future for you as a brand, for Queen, what do you see 15, 20 years coming down?
I want to take the Oakmont to the world. I'm currently strategizing on how to penetrate not just Botswana, penetrate any other country where they are willing to open that door for me. So if it's not 5 years, let's say 3 years, I think Oakmont will be out there in the world with maybe different branches in different countries. And me as a brand, I would really like to encourage my age mates, young people, to embark on something similar like this. Build yourself, build a legacy. There's never really a lot of time. I know we might think we have time. I'm 25, I'm 26, and you think, no, I can start later on. I still have time. Let me enjoy life for now. But I would like to encourage them to start as young as they can, because you may start thinking of building that legacy when you are like 33 or 34, but unfortunately at that time you might find that you have limited resources. We have youth brackets, which means you won't be able to take advantage of such aids, such initiatives. So imagine trying to build a legacy of 10 years in 2 years. So I would really encourage them to start as young as they can, and don't be afraid. Please put fear aside. Fear. So
you think in 15 years, what will you have? I mean, what do you dream about? I want you to think long term and tell me what you see coming out of the brand.
I would like to see it in different countries, like I've said, and I would like to also branch into food, real estate, if you may say. We can have. I'm planning to have an Oakmont properties, Oakmont foods, Oakmont's transport, and so and so. So I want to build that group.
So you want to diversify
portfolio. Diversify and have that group of companies from just this one.
Okay.
The name was actually strategic, you see. So I wanted it to be like that.
What is the special meaning of Oakmont?
Oakmont is a oak. If anyone knows oak, is that very, very strong tree. And Monte is basically Spanish for mountain. So the company really represents a very strong mountain of businesses. With whatever it comes, challenges that it comes, we are able to overcome them, get over that mountain with the strength that we have.
Okay. And in terms of any other, influencers, or shall I say heroes, who do you look to?
Who do I look to mostly? I look to Mr. Mogobe.
Oh, okay.
No, but I've known of Mr. Mogobe, but although it wasn't on a podcast point of view, it was on a law point of view, because I have a sister who's a lawyer, and she used to talk about Mr. Mogobe, and also that's how I got to learn about.
Where
Mr.
is she
Mogobe.
Practicing now?
She's with the government for now.
Oh, okay. And her name?
Seshama Sarah Mabeza.
Oh, okay. And she's worked with us?
I'm not sure if she
Lerumo,
has, but I know she knows very well of you, because she's with the Land Tribunal.
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah, no, I may have appeared there
probably.
a few times. Yeah.
So you are actually an inspiration, though. I'd like to have the kind of legacy you've built also in different industries. I know it's of different industries. I'd like to be there as well.
Okay. The question that some youngsters always insist I ask is the Zaga issue, to ask whether there's real money in this business. Is there money in software? Is there money in Sage in consultancy on
there
software? And where is it? Where does one find it?
There is money. There is money in the software business, because everything is becoming technology-wise. Everyone needs software as it is. We are no longer in that stone age where we are doing manual things. But if someone wants to talk about money, yes, there is money, but I don't want to put it at the forefront of everything else. It comes over time. You can't start now and expect to find that money.
I mean, obviously, a classic example is Microsoft. I mean,
exactly.
Bill Gates was the richest man in the world for the longest. So I don't know whether that's an indication that it's a lucrative
It is a lucrative
field.
business. It
Okay.
is.
Can you give examples of what you mean by it's lucrative?
Well, software is an investment, and investment is very expensive, because you want it to last and have whatever you have put into it over years. You don't want to lose anything. You want to be able to obtain whatever you have invested in, even 20 years, 30 years down the line. So in order to have that, you need to have put enough money into making sure that whatever you are storing your things in is very sustainable. And software is very sustainable. There is always a backup. You will never lose anything. It doesn't get affected by fire. It doesn't. Even if there was fire now, you can still go home to block 6 and log into whatever system it is.
Because you back up on the cloud or something.
Yes, we back up on the cloud. In fact, our system is cloud-based.
Oh, I see. Wonderful. This is the part of the show where you get to ask me a question. What question do you have for me, madam?
Does it have to be, or can it just be my personal one? Or does
Any
it have
question
to be
you want to ask?
I would like to ask if I'm on the right track, Mr. Mogobe, in the entrepreneurship
Well,
world.
based on what I've heard, it seems that there's hunger. It's a very important component. It seems that you have resilience. It also seems as if you have determination. To me, those are very, very key ingredients. And then you have a smart head on your shoulders to the point where I think you understand about numbers as well, coming from an accountancy background. So to me, it seems like you are well placed. The only person who can limit you in terms of your current ambitions is yourself. And it seems that you have very, very good prospects of success. And I'm sure when you look back at this particular recording 2 years, 3 years down the line, you'll see that I was right. I was 100% correct. So you're on the right track.
Thank you. I will make sure that I stay very close so that we can also monitor that progress. and because you also saw the potential, that's why I was invited here.
Yes, absolutely.
So it means you see something that I also see.
Wonderful. Now, as we conclude our conversation, I'd like you to look at that camera and speak to, make sure you speak to the individual watching and leave them with an uplifting final message.
Whoever is not sure about life at the moment, I want them to understand that it's just a phase. Everything has a phase. Everything has a time limit. It will never be as it is now. I would like to encourage them to put fear aside. We have a lot of fear as people, and we let it take over us. I would like them to put fear aside and just start where you are. I started with absolutely nothing. Everyone else started with absolutely nothing. So just start.
That's a wonderful message. We appreciate it. Now share all your contact details where people can reach you online and offline.
I'm on every social media platform, and it's Queen Kgotlaesele everywhere: Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and my company social media handles are Oakmont Enterprises across all platforms: LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Wonderful.
You can always inbox us. I always respond to every message. Okay. There's not a single message that I won't respond. So you can send that inbox and I will respond to it.
Do you have a WhatsApp?
I have a WhatsApp. It's a business line and it's a 267-7254-1313.
Okay, thank you very much. You've done a good job.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mogobe, for inviting me.
Okay.